is great.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to another episode. It's your host, Gabriel Romaani. And I hope you're following with our topics, our discussions, alhamdulillah, here on Peace TV. Very beneficial, first of all, for myself, and I hope that you're benefiting. I hope, and I always advise the viewers to take notes, to really, benefit. Because once it comes in, within the 5-10 minutes, the decay of the knowledge just slowly moves on. But when you record it, you can go back and review it and strengthen it. Jazakumullah khair again for our guests for joining us today. Sheikh Dr. Ahmed ibn Saifuddin, Sheikh Salem Amry, and Sheikh Assim Hakim. How are you today? Assalamu alaikum. We'll continue with the Masjid, and rightly so. It's very appropriate to have quite a few episodes on this, because it's such an important aspect in the life of the Muslim. It is the center for the Muslim Ummah, where the community congregates, where people know each other even, and they meet and they find out about each other's problems. They share their happiness. For example, we have sometimes aqiqah or something, or even marriages that take place, right? So people share that. And at the same time, we share the sadness of burying some of our beloved brothers and sisters and so on. So it's really the center of our life, and it's beautiful when we revolve and our daily life revolves around the Masjid. And we discussed in the previous episode about children in the Masjid. And I believe, Sheikh Assim, you were talking a little bit about, you're bringing the balance. Because we said that, look, children should be in the Masjid. It's important for them to learn, to see, to understand the adab at the Masjid. They will learn it in the Masjid, subhanAllah. And we gave examples how the Prophet ﷺ used to carry children in the Masjid and, not wanting to disturb them when they climb on him. But at the same time, Sheikh Assim, we were talking about that still we need to instruct our children. We can't just let them loose and we kind of, because definitely children are children. They will disturb, they will cause problems, especially when there's more than one or two or three. Right? When there's 15, 20, 100, and then there's a problem. So would you like to comment a little bit more and expound on this?
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah, wa alihi wa sahbihi man ihtada bihudah. Amma ba'd. As stated in the last episode, that we have to strike the balance, in the sense that we must not jump the gun and start pointing fingers without identifying the problem. I remember once I prayed Isha in my masjid, and during the salat, there were two girls shouting. Of course, you're talking about 5 years and 3 years. You can tell. So I concluded my prayer. It's an excuse, of course. Quickly. It's a sunnah. But then it's a legitimate excuse for you to conclude it quickly. Immediately after salam, one of the old geezers, as they call them, and they cause the most problems in the masjid, subhanallah. Because they know people respect them. So they're loud and they're grumpy. And this is un-Islamic. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu, again, this is one of my footnotes. The Prophet ﷺ said that خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ طَالَ عُمُرُهُ وَحَسُنَ عَمَلُهُ وَحَسُنَ خُلُقُهُ.
Allah.
The third one, people don't usually put in the hadith.
Right.
They only take the first two. The best among you are those whose lifespan is prolonged, and they live long, and they have good deeds. They pray in the masjid, they give sadaqah. But the third one is what we neglect, and their character is refined and fine and good. So this brother, or this uncle, stood up and started shouting at the girls and their father. And the poor father concluded his prayer, took his girls and left. I immediately went out of the masjid to meet that man.
The father.
The father. So I gave him salam and I told him, Akhi, don't pay attention to what the uncle said. Yani, he's grumpy, he's old, he's not controlling his emotions. Wallahi, the man broke in tears. He said, Akhi, nobody knows what I am suffering. Their mother left my house 6 months ago. And I don't have anyone to be with them. And I'm babysitting and I'm feeding them. I'm trying to get married. I'm trying to get any of my family I'm unable.
Bismillah.
I just wanted to pray in the masjid.
Allahu
What can I
Akbar.
do? And he was crying.
Allah.
A grown-up man. So many times we make decisions, we give rulings, we label people, we make decisions that are based on false interpretation. Always think that this might be dhulm, might be transgression. Wait, listen,
Ask.
give advice, and go to the sunnah. The Prophet never reprimanded the woman who had the child who was crying. On the contrary, he folded and shortened his prayer in a quick fashion, but according to the rules, because he feared for her heart to be broken over her child. So if you put this in mind, if this is recurring, and if the brother is bringing his girls every single salat, and they're making chaos in the masjid, this has to be stopped. So we have to tell those who are frequently doing the same thing and bothering the worshippers. Yes, there are those who are OCD-ish. They have everything to complain of. Why don't you pray in the masjid? I don't like the smell of the socks. I don't like the sound of the fan. The lights are too strong or too dim. These people, their khushu' is actually not found to begin with.
MashaAllah. SubhanAllah. I mean, it's a very, very enlightening story, SubhanAllah. Any other Sheikh would like to comment on this?
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu ala rasulillah. Well, I will go. I think we've given the subject of children enough discussion. I'd like to move on to the importance of some of the common mistakes done by people who come to prayer. Yes, their intention is good.
Right.
They come, may Allah reward them for what they come for. However, at times they don't care of certain things. They don't take care of certain things, such as when they read the glorious Quran before Salah, they read it with a loud voice. So the person next to them would not be able even to concentrate. He would not be able to comprehend. So you need to only raise your voice to an extent where you can hear yourself but not bother people around you. The quieter the better to me, because from experience I can see that, yes, we understand. At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, people used to come and you'd hear the sound like bees hovering in the place, but probably these people were doing it from different places around the masjid, not necessarily next to each other, where you'd be really bothered, particularly if you'd like to concentrate. One other thing is, or if there's a person who's praying, because you may be reading the glorious Quran, someone else might be praying, so you disrupt their concentration and their peace of mind.
And there is a hadith, Shaykh Ahmed, where the Prophet said, عليه الصلاة والسلام, لا يجهر بعضكم على بعض بالقرآن. Do not recite the Quran loudly against one another, because if I'm reciting Surah Al-Kahf, and then you want to recite and you raise your voice, so I want to challenge you and raise my voice more, we're humiliating and disrespecting the Quran.
So that's one understood point. Again, anything that bothers a person, either by the way you act, the way you smell, the way you produce a sound or something, anything that would disrupt the peace and tranquility within the masjid has to be stopped in order for everyone to enjoy what they have come for, which is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to perform this prayer. Sheikh just mentioned earlier the smell of socks. Yes, that's a problem. For some people, you cannot even withstand it. Or some people who are working in these jobs that require, they have some paints, they have some oil, something, grease or whatever, and they come to the masjid, people don't feel comfortable praying next to them, or even they would not leave anything on the carpet. So one has to be very careful. That's why in some masjids, they used to have extra pieces of praying mats for people to come and use in case they are workers within the neighborhood, in order to allow them to witness the prayer, but on the other hand, not to leave any effect or stains, whatever, on the carpet. I think if we take care of the masjid, keep it clean, decent, nice smelling, quiet, this is going to produce the effect, because everyone would like to come and benefit. The other thing is greeting people around you. Get to know one another. It's always nice to extend a hand to people, show them a nice smile, say salam, ask about their whereabouts, their family, if you know their family.
Socialize.
It's very, very important to have that feeling so that you'd not be feeling strange. I know some people maybe would visit and no one would even give them salam. You would enter a masjid. I know that if you can make a assalamu alaikum quietly, at least you would not bother someone who's reading the Quran or praying. But on the other hand, people need to hear your salam when you're coming or leaving in the masjid. People just shun from doing so, thinking that I'm going to bother people. No, people would love to hear your salam when you look at them, smile at them, give them that nice feeling that we're brothers in the masjid. I think that is going to produce the desired effect.
MashaAllah, Jazakallah khair. What are some other mistakes?
Maybe I add one point here. It is the cleanliness of the masjid. Because sometimes you find the carpets giving bad smell, really. So the masajid, we have to take care of the masajid, hoof the masajid. That woman was hoovering the masjid.
No.
Okay, they used to perfume the masjid and put scent, bukhur, in the masjid at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. So cleaning the masjid, respecting the masjid. The Prophet ﷺ, he saw someone spat in the direction of the Qibla. The Prophet ﷺ, went and removed the sputum and put scent on the same place. So we have to take care of our masajids and maybe
keep it clean. MashaAllah.
We will.
Jazakallah khair. We're going to take a short break right now. We'll continue right after this.
God is great.
A man, a mission, a world-renowned orator on Islam and comparative religion. He dedicated more than 5 decades of his life for dawah. Ahmed Didat.
We Muslims believe that Jesus was the Christ. This book is an eternal book of guidance for you and for me, for the whole of mankind. It's a solution to the problems of mankind. The miracle is when you expect a man to be dead and he's alive. That's a miracle.
Man with a Mission, every Monday to Thursday at 5:30 p.m. and repeat telecast at 11:30 a.m. India on Peace TV. Peace TV presents over 100 million viewers at one of the largest peace conferences in the world, addressing a sea of spellbound spectators. Over 30 world-renowned orators on Islam with credentials impeccable.
The truth of Islam.
Deen is your way of life. It is our duty, our obligation. By following the Quran and Sunnah, we will give the message to one and all.
With articulation exquisite.
Read the book of Allah.
Islam is the easy way. It's the simple way.
Remind each other.
The Muslim is not a source of harm for other people.
Collaborate with the people for good.
This is the call of Islam.
With the mission of spreading the truth of Islam.
Do what you can to spread the word of Islam.
Wherever we are,
Live like Muslims.
Use your power.
Allah is saying, why do you need anything else? This Quran is self-sufficient.
the only book on the face of the globe, the Quran.
How a human being should lead his life is given in this instruction manual, the glorious Quran.
For peace to prevail on earth in Peacemakers. Next on Peace TV.
God is great.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. We're talking about the masjid. It's the 4th episode, mashallah, because it's so important. And just before the break, we were talking about the cleanliness of the masjid, how important it is to smell good and to produce this feel-good, atmosphere in the masjid. I have a question with regards to the carpet. Obviously, at the time of Rasulullah, there was no carpet, right? It was just sand. But now we have carpets. Now this might be somehow related to fiqh, because some brothers and sisters believe that making wudu and allowing the water to trickle down from their bodies and from their faces is important. This removes the sins. However, we know that that water usually is the cause of the bacteria that develops on the carpet and the bad smell. How do we tackle this issue? Maybe Sheikh Assim would like to comment, or anyone.
Yeah, we have to keep shampooing the carpets, hoovering the carpets. We have to take care of the masjid. To add also to this, the Musallin themselves, akhi, especially in the Fajr prayer, they come to the masjid without brushing their teeth. Very bad smell. Sometimes to the extent you have to close. You feel that you'll suffocate. And the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is to brush.
No.
Always, when he gets up at night prayer, the first thing is to start cleaning, because you are communicating and talking to Allah, and there is an angel also.
No.
So we have to take care of this.
But again, sorry, the question though, again, maybe let me reformulate it. Should people wipe themselves before they come to the masjid to avoid that water to...
Okay, the people have a misconception because there is a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ performed ghusl, and then one of his wives brought him with a mandil, with a towel, and he did this, rejected it. So some scholars say that it is not recommended or even not permissible to dry off your limbs because this is the traces of wudu. And the Prophet did this. And this is a single, isolated incident. Other scholars say, no, probably there was something wrong in that towel that the Prophet was presented with, that he did not want it. But there's no indication that one should leave himself wet. Now, I come to a little bit more of a sensitive issue, and the shuyukh may like to elaborate or would like to agree as usual, alhamdulillah. The issue of being so obsessed with bacteria and viruses, and if you wash your hand, you have to be careful, and if you shake hands with others, you have to put, detergents and wash again because of swine flu or camel mouth and foot disease or goat's influenza or fish bacteria, whatever. You have so many illnesses. To the extent that you get people in the masjid saying to the person who sneezes, "Akhi, don't come to the masjid, you have the flu." So what's the limit? Do I have to have a medical clinic outside the masjid, make a thorough check before you enter the masjid? We drink from the same cup as Muslims because we believe in, say, Bismillah, and we trust one another. We take Zamzam after you, the hadith of drinking milk of Abu Hurairah.
No.
Like 70 plus people drank from the same glass. So nowadays, if you want to practice the sunnah, say, hey, what are you doing? It's a sunnah to eat from the same plate.
Germs.
And nowadays, no, don't. There's so many germs. Put it in your plate. Okay, the sunnah is eat from the same place. So I think that we're overdoing it, and we're going overboard when it comes to cleanliness.
This time I have to agree with you, Sheikh.
Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah.
Jazakallah, not only that, Sheikh, there is explicit narration that he had a special towel, the Prophet ﷺ. Explicit narration talking about this. So there's no harm in drying the organ or the limbs.
MashaAllah. Anything you'd like to add, Sheikh?
Well, I think if we can move on to the importance of having a good imam, an imam who is real responsible, keeping time. Because some imams may, mashallah, are given the job, but they just leave somewhere. They ask someone else to do it on their behalf. They may be late and people are waiting, and there should be an agreeable time between adhan and iqamah so people can come and perform their salah and expect to be out of the masjid at a certain time in order to go after their own businesses. But some imams don't put that into consideration, and that's irresponsible.
So sorry to cut, but so the question comes in, so someone be assigned to the masjid?
Well,
is that
otherwise, if we don't have someone to take care of the masjid and to be the imam, otherwise it will be chaotic. We don't want to have this chaos in the masjid. We have to have someone who is responsible. And nowadays, with the organization of everything, obviously the masjid should be the first one to be organized, to be, put in the right order. And I think the role of the imam is so much important that you should choose the right imam, a person who is responsible, a person with memorizing the glorious Quran as much as they can, or at least enough to recite the glorious Quran, also someone with a beautiful voice, in order for people to be happy and enjoy when they hear the recitation during the loud prayers. I think these are given as facts. And of course, with loudspeakers, you can, but also the most important thing is someone who is following the sunnah. We should not bring someone who has his own ideas about bid'i ideas, he's inventing out of his own certain things, or he does not follow the sunnah. But in his salah, he should be someone who very, very particular about the sunnah, about how he conducts himself, and he's someone with enough understanding or fiqh to understand what to do when there is a problem. Suppose he forgets in the salah and he does not know when to do sujood al-sahw, for example, the two sajdas for forgetfulness, or if he hears a sound behind, what should he do? These sort of things that an imam should be knowledgeable enough to understand what to do and how to deal with people with different mentalities, different backgrounds, different understandings. As the Shaykh was explaining about a community, you might find elders who very agitated most of the time. They don't like, certain things that do not comply to their own understanding. How do you deal with these people? How do you act with children, for example? How do you deal with women? Are you flexible enough to understand and to adjust to different situations in order to do the best according to the Islamic rules regarding treating people in the right way with wisdom and understanding and seeking the maslahah or the interest of the Muslim community at hand?
MashaAllah. And this moves me to another question here amongst those who lead the masjid. In the West, we have this problem with the board of directors or the masjid board. So, what is the role of the imam? Sometimes the imam gets overruled by these associations. I know it's a technical question, but there's, masjid politics. And then this is, again, something that a lot of people are confused over. And I think it's important to address. Shaykh Assim, what do you think?
First of all, let's understand the role of the imam of the masjid.
No.
The imam of the masjid is not the lone ranger.
Okay.
The imam of the masjid is someone who's supposed to be a deputy of the Muslim ruler. So he's appointed by the Muslim ruler. It's not any Tom, Dick, or Harry coming in and leading the salah. And we're talking about conventional masjids. Now, if you are in a Muslim country, this is the role of the Ministry of Islamic Affairs. They appoint, they test, and they assign. But when you're talking about the West, so someone builds a masjid. Basically speaking, the imam of the masjid is the one responsible for, as Shaykh Ahmed said, educating the worshippers, teaching them their religion, counseling their problems, solving their social issues, giving fatwas in divorce and marriage, etc. He has to be someone of a high caliber, not just some person who recites the Quran and that's it. He has to have knowledge in the prayer itself. He has to have knowledge in lots of aspects. Unfortunately, in the West, in the non-Muslim countries, they usually assign a board of directors or a board that controls the masjid.
No.
And here we have a dilemma, because usually this board or this committee, sometimes, as you have stated, they have inside politics. And this is the mistake of those who first built the masjid when they appointed people that don't fear Allah. So they appoint this gentleman because he paid a little bit more. And they appoint this person because he's good with this aspect. Those who run the masjid must be knowledgeable, must be fearing Allah Azza wa Jal, must be practicing. But when politics comes in, then the imam of the masjid is in a dire state. And this is wrong. The role of the imam of the masjid is to lead. And what we learn in the masjid is to unite behind one imam. So in the bigger community, the whole country unites behind one Muslim ruler. This is the norm. But when you have divisions, when you have quarrels and fights and below the belt blows, as in so many places, the community themselves start to disintegrate. they start to run away from masjid, or at least look down at everyone that is connected to Islam and to religion. This is a very serious offense.
MashaAllah, Jazakallah khair. We ran out of time again. Beautiful topic, and I hope that you enjoyed it. And bi'idhnillah, we're going to see you on the next episode. This is your host, Gabriel Romaani. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.